Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hello there. Welcome to our talk on the epistemology, the study of knowledge. Today, we live in a world where information spread faster than ever through social media and also AI. But how do we know it's true? So in this video, my group member and I will talk about what is epistemology, why does it matter, and who should we trust in this digital age. Let's go!
Epistemology is a branch of philosophy that focuses on knowledge. It asks questions such as what knowledge is, how we obtain it, and how can we be sure something is true. In philosophy, knowledge is usually described as justified true belief. This meant that for something to count as knowledge, we must believe it must be true, and reason for believing it must be good.
Okay, so to add on, I personally think that epistemology really helps us distinguish between facts and opinions, right? Because nowadays, I think many people are just so confused between their own personal beliefs and actual knowledge, right? So epistemology really reminds us that just because we truly believe in something doesn't necessarily mean that it is true. So evidence and justifications are a very, very important aspect in this topic.
Epistemology is especially important today because we are constantly exposed to information online. Social media allows anyone to share news whether it is true or false. Without epistemological thinking, people may easily accept misinformation. This is why critical thinking is necessary in our daily lives.
I agree. Technology like AI has made information look more convincing. Deepfake videos and edited images can mislead people easily. Epistemology teaches us not to immediately trust what we see, but to question and verify information before accepting it as true.
How does fake news relate to epistemology? So, fake news is closely related to epistemology because it concerns how knowledge is formed, justified, and validated. So, fake news often spread because individuals accept information based on emotional appeals or personal bias rather than credible evidence. So, from epistemology perspective, this is problematic because a belief without proper justification does not qualify as knowledge. So when people share the fake news, they are transmitting unverified belief instead of facts. So epistemology will therefore emphasize the importance of evaluating sources, verifying evidence, and applying critical thinking before accepting or sharing information as true.
Another reason fake news spread is confirmation bias. People tend to believe information that supports what they already think. Epistemology helps us become aware of this bias and remind us to remain objective when evaluating information.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? What I notice is that nowadays, many people trust all these influences because they are so relatable and so popular, right? But however, one thing that they don't understand is that popularity does not mean credibility, right? Because experts usually base their claims on an actual research, a real-life experience with evidence, right? So epistemology really teaches us to trust all these new informations and sources based on an actual knowledge and expertise, and not just fame.
Trusting the wrong source can lead to serious consequences. For example, misinformation about health or finance can cause a real harm. Epistemology encourages us to evaluate the reliability of information before accepting it as true.
Philosophical comparison: Western versus Islamic epistemology. Western epistemology primarily emphasizes reason, logic, and empirical observation as the main sources of knowledge. Philosophers such as René Descartes promoted systematic doubt, arguing that belief should be questioned until certainty is achieved. This approach values critical thinking, rational analysis, and evidence-based justification to determine what counts as true knowledge. In contrast, Islamic epistemology recognizes multiple sources of knowledge, including revelation, wahyu, reason, and sensory experience. The Quran and Sunnah are regarded as the highest and most authoritative sources of truth, while reason is used to understand, interpret, and apply revealed knowledge. Rather than doubting revelation, Islamic epistemology encourages reflection, tafakkur, and verification tauhid within the framework of faith. Knowledge in Islam is closely tied to moral responsibility and the pursuit of truth for ethical and spiritual purpose.
In Islamical epistemology, knowledge comes from balance of reason and revelation. Scholars like Al-Ghazali believe that while reason is important, divine guidance provides ultimate truth. This approach combines intellectual thinking with moral and spiritual values.
In conclusion, epistemology helps us understand how knowledge works and why truth matters. In a world filled with misinformation, epistemological thinking helps us becoming a more responsible persons and critical individuals. By questioning the source, seeking evidence, and balancing reason with ethics help us make a better decisions. That is it from our group. Thank you for listening and goodbye.